Knees and toes.
The shoulders have to do with anything.
Because of what you did to my bold prediction. Yes, I'm taking this too far, but I don't care. We're
The
going.
noise is great for those who are audio only.
What's up, everyone, and welcome into the Buffalo Sports Collective. It is Friday, May 8th, 2026. As always, I am PK alongside my co-host, Phil, episode 437. Remember, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikToks at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky, Buffalo Sports Co. Don't forget to follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts. Check out our website at buffalosportscollective.com. One of the 100 articles are out there. Go give them every single one a read. You can read one for 100 days, and you'll catch up. Look for time breakdowns in the description of the show. This past week, Wednesday, our 5th anniversary show came out. Give that a listen. About an hour 25. I actually went back and listened to that because I wanted to refresh my memory of what we did close to a month ago at this point. But yeah, that's out. Give it a listen. Happy 5-year anniversary to us. Today's episode, we got Sabres game 1 versus Montreal. Good things. Ask the BSC. We got 4 questions they have written into us. Round 2 thoughts for the NLL to wrap up the semifinals of the NLL playoffs. Then if time, which there never is, Bills off season. But Phil, will start with Sabres. Game 1 versus Montreal took place on Wednesday. I was able to watch periods 1 and 2, and period 3, soccer game was going on, and we had it blaring over the speaker as they won 4-2. Missed no goals, though. I missed 0 goals in the third period as Buffalo wins 4-2 to take the 1-0 lead in the series against the Canadiens. The Canadiens failed to fill up the arena, Phil. I think we were there the last time they faced the Canadiens, and there were a lot of people there.
There were a lot, especially right around us.
Yeah, it was the 20th anniversary of the 05-06 Sabres. Doan scored, McLeod scored, Greenway, and Byram. Byram remains hotter than ever. Alex Lyon played unbelievable once again. 26 of 28 saves. Montreal outshot Buffalo by 12, 28-16. But Phil, the biggest news of all, Buffalo scored twice on the power play. New month, new Sabres, 2 for 3, even though it looked just as bad as we had seen all through April. But Phil, what are your thoughts on game 1 as they take a 1-0 lead in this best of 7?
I thought more than anything it was a feeling out game, not only for both teams, but especially for Buffalo. Buffalo, we talked about it a lot. Buffalo series versus Boston. Boston plays a different style than a lot of teams now. They play very slow. They play very physical. Montreal is not that. And I think the way Buffalo plays is much closer to Tampa than Montreal to Boston. So I think for a little bit, it was a feeling out for Buffalo to try to get their legs under them, figure out how Montreal's going to allow them to play, because they were so used to a different style through that entire series with Boston. So even though they were up 2-1 after the first, I thought they looked bad. You even mentioned it, that they were lucky to be in the lead at that point. I agreed. I thought they didn't look great. And then the second period, they played much better. In the third period, they played completely defensive, which I do not like that style. But it worked. It ended up being okay. It was just all neutral zone nonsense and just clearing the puck out over and over and over, and it works. So whatever. But overall, I thought that they could have played much better, and for them to be able to win 4-2 with no empty net goals, the top line was bad, and still get 4 goals, I think it was a big win, and I think it shows what they could be if they show up in game 2. I really just didn't. I know they won 4-2. They looked okay, but I didn't think they looked great by any means. I thought they just looked okay. There were times that they completely outplayed Montreal, but there were times that I just didn't think they were, maybe not the lesser team, but just that they could have played much better, and I have them at a higher standard than they played in that game.
Yeah, I pretty much completely agree with you. I think they had, I can't remember who said it, they had quality chances over quantity chances.
Yes.
And I mean, the 16 shots on net prove it. And I do agree. I don't think they had their best game, but they had players that stepped up and had good games. Like the top line, like you mentioned, was not good at all. I didn't like their play whatsoever. they had spurts, but you need your top players to be top players in the playoffs consistently. And I didn't think they were. And that's okay because, I mean, the first round of the playoffs, we were praising them nonstop. Yeah, Tage had only scored in game one, but he was contributing in other ways, getting Krebs and Alex Tuck going. But this was just not a very good game. And I think you summed it up perfectly that the style of play between Boston and Montreal is so different. So I do think it's going to take them a bit to adjust to that style. And they won 4-2 while trying to adjust to that.
Yep.
I said it after the first, and you mentioned it. They did not look good in the first period. They were very lucky, especially like after Doan scored. I thought Montreal was the better team. And then they got the McLeod goal on the power play, another nice pass by Benson, and we'll talk about him in a minute. But I thought overall, they were very lucky to have the lead 2-1, and I really was worried that the very late first period goal by Montreal was going to catapult them into getting back in this game, and it just didn't happen. Greenway comes down and scores, and I mean, their goalie was not very good at all. That Greenway goal should never have gone in. It went off the tip of his glove, and then the Byram one, he's all alone on the power play and just rips it home. I thought Buffalo got a little bit lucky because Montreal's goaltender was not on his game, and he was on his game in the Tampa Bay game. So you kind of thought, okay, coming in on after a game on Sunday, can he roll into Wednesday and carry that game over? And he didn't. But to look through this, I mean, the power play was still really bad. I think I also said in the chat, the second power play needs to become the first power play, and till the first power play proves they can be the first power play again. They're taking up way too much time just even entering the zone. It looks crap to begin with. That drop back pass is worse than the screen game for the Buffalo Bills. Like, they're making the screen game look genius. It's stupid. Every team knows it's going to happen, and then they just post up. Like, Montreal, their power play is going to be so dangerous. It's going to be a massive problem. They just go in the zone with ease. And my brother sat down on the couch and just going like, the difference between Montreal playing on the power play and Buffalo playing on the power play is vastly different. It's going to come back to bite them. They need to play this series 5-on-5 the majority of the time. And that's what's silly, is Buffalo needs to be on 5-on-5 and not ask for power play opportunities. Yeah, they went 2 for 3, but it did not look good whatsoever.
Yeah, I think it's funny because I didn't like all the chippiness during the Boston series after every single whistle that was near the goalie, that both teams were just fighting each other. And now this series so far was so bland in the first game, like nobody's fighting anybody, and there was like very mild pushing and shoving. I was like, well, this is kind of boring. So a combination of those two would be nice. There was a little bit of chippiness. I think as the series goes on, it'll get worse and worse. But yeah, I mean, just like you said, the power play scored but doesn't look good. And how you don't look at, I know you can't just monsterly overhaul it. I don't know why you can't, I guess, because what's happening is not working. So worst case scenario, it continues to not work. But like, how do you not just look at other teams like Montreal, like the Ducks, like Dallas, that are succeeding in the playoffs on the power play very consistently, and just look at what they're doing and just break it down a little bit. Okay, this is how they're entering. Like, find some commonalities and try to make it work with the team you have out there. But luckily for them, the depth scoring was amazing. We'll go over positives before I ask the question I have for you. But Benson is incredible. He got so much hype after that Boston series, and to come out the way he did in this series and start that way was just amazing. I mean, the way he finished the Boston series by taking that slash and then smiling the whole way, and then he just carries it over. And I think in this series so far, I think it's the play that has been that much better. That not that he was bad in the first series, but you see, not only is he a pest, but he's a pest with a lot of skill and a lot of speed. And you're like, okay, like he really is the complete player that you want on your team. But he's been more and more and more fun. And it's fun to see. I know we talked about this a while ago, that I think the NHL and ESPN and all the national news outlets are so thrilled that the Sabres are in the playoffs because their social media is just nonstop Sabres talk, pumping it up because they know it'll get a bajillion views really easily. And good for them. I ride that wave, but it's fun to see a lot of the Benson stuff individually pop up now more and more and more as he's getting more and more credit as this playoffs rolls on.
Yeah, he's just like, I see more like not the hockey aspect, but I see the me in Zach Benson more and more as he's behind the mic. Like they asked him the one question, and Greenway goes, "Benny, take it away," and he goes, "I thought you were going to answer that. I wasn't listening to that question whatsoever." Like, it's he's so fun and easy to root for, and to talk about like the on ice personality, if you want to call it that.
Yep.
I think he's going to thrive in this series because Boston, he was able to get under players' skin and, still be able to produce, but there wasn't as much room on the ice because of their style. With playing Montreal, I think you're going to see more of his skill game and his forechecking and his ability. Like, there's going to be more room on the ice for him to do his things. And yeah, the first assist helped when Montreal's defender just like somehow fell on the ground. I get that. But like the second one, his assist to McLeod, that was
vision.
Perfect. Like he has so much more skill than just the little rat on the ice. Like it's so much fun seeing his skill come out, and he's not even 21 years old yet.
Yep.
And it's going to be a game. I learned he's got a birthday the day before me, so that just even like sums it up even more, even though I'm like 13 years older than him. But I thought Greenway played unbelievable. I thought this was his best game. I gave Will McLeod, I did it again, Ryan McLeod a ton of crap in the first series, deservingly so. This was his best game. Like maybe this is also going to unlock him because he's got the ability to skate a little bit more free. That second line, while they didn't really produce on the ice because McLeod's was the power play, I thought that was their best game of this series. Quinn looked phenomenal in this one. I really liked his game. He had a ton of chances. And yeah, I talked about like Jason Zucker's chances not producing in the first series, but that's because I expected him to cash in on those big rebounds that Swayman gives up. I think, and we even mentioned it, that second line's got to get going if they want to advance in this playoffs. I think they're going to be able to produce against Montreal here. I'm very excited to see what comes out in game 2, but I thought, Lyon was really solid again. They could have gotten out of hand, especially in the first period. He locked it down. But like you said, when the top line wasn't producing, it was the depth scoring and the depth players that rode them, and they had to ride going through game 1. I really liked a lot of these guys' games.
Yeah, I thought Kozak.
Yes, yep. I don't know how you pull him out for Carrick. Like I don't know how you're able to do that. I like Carrick's game more. I think he adds more to the game, but Kozak was phenomenal. How do you pull him out of the lineup for Carrick? I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I was even because I know they had. I never know. I'm just gonna call him Constance from now on. I don't know how to say his last name, and everybody says it different. But they had him skating and practicing, and everyone's like, "Oh, that's like an interesting development." And I was thinking, like, could he produce more on the fourth line instead of Kozak? Because Kozak was doing okay, but nothing like great. He was a solid fourth liner, but he wasn't really like flashing too much. And I was like, oh, would Constance be good on that fourth line to maybe create more offense? But then Kozak went out and had that incredible game. I was like, all right, well, never mind, Kozak. Jeez, just go out and have yourself a game. And even Malenstein looked a little bit better. Like you said, Greenway looked incredible. But my big thing going back to Zucker, and I know I've been picking on Norris a ton, but I'm going to throw him in here as well. I thought Zucker looked horrible. I've been keeping a much closer eye on him since you brought him up. I think he looks terrible. I thought Norris looked terrible. I really didn't love McLeod outside of the power play. I thought in the power play he was fantastic. That clear knockdown that he had on the second power play goal was, you don't get that goal without that, and the hand-eye coordination is amazing.
I thought his speed was better in this game. You didn't really see the speed in the Boston series. Sure. I think one of his key elements is his speed in this game. So I think that was better. So I'm hoping that it starts coming together. But like, it was in the very bottom basement for McLeod, so right. It's better than it was? Question mark?
Like I do think Quinn had an amazing game. I think he looked great, but to me, he kind of looked great by himself on that line. Like he was kind of skating around, and they had that one really long section where they were out there for like 2 minutes, maybe just skating around Montreal, but a lot of that was just Quinn being Quinn, and he was just kind of having the freedom to show off his own skill, but I don't think his line mates really did anything to emphasize his skill. And then Benson and Doan look absolutely incredible, and Norris looks invisible compared to those two. So, like, my big question to you is, would you change the lines at all between the only flip I can think of is McLeod and Norris swapping where they are to add even more speed to the Benson Doan line, which is already fast. Throw McLeod down there and add even more speed and just make it your go, go, go line. And then maybe Norris adds a little bit more skill to the Zucker and Quinn line and unlocks that a little bit more. But they got, like you said, the second line, they got to find a way to get them going. And Norris in general, like, again, Benson and Doan looked incredible, but it seems like they were by themselves out there and Norris was just invisible. Like, from you, I don't think they're going to do anything. I think they'll keep it as is. But if you were the coach, would you mix up the lines at all to try to get Zucker going, try to get Norris going, try to get Quinn and McLeod going a little bit more consistently?
I mean, I said it on the Monday show, that would be the only switch I would make is Norris bumps up and I almost did it again. Ryan McLeod bumps down. I think that is a needed change.
Yeah.
I don't think they're going to do it because they just won 4-2 and they're not going to shake up a team that's winning, especially after the first series. But something needs to change. And I don't think it's the only thing that would scare me. And I agree with you. It looked like Doan and Benson were playing by themselves. I understand that. And I understand that Quinn was pretty much playing by himself. The only thing that would scare me is if you do pull Josh Norris off that line and put Ryan McLeod there, does that shake up or change anything that we see from Benson and Doan? Because if it does, I'm willing to live with, sorting that out. Because if that connection changes whatsoever, I don't think they're winning this series. So that would be my only concern of making that switch. But I said it on the Monday show going into the series. That would be the switch I would make just to try to get something going, because right now your second and third centermen are not really doing much, and that really needs to change, especially if your top center was also not doing anything. So like right down the middle, besides Kozak, who was your best center in this one, I would make that switch, but I don't see it happening unless they lose a game.
Yep. Yeah, and Thompson and Tuck combined for 1 shot on goal. Again, they were great in the first series, so I'm not worried, but like you said, they looked bad. They looked very bad. They looked like they were just trying to be too fancy. Like they just kept over skating and trying to be too skillful instead of just going with the flow and playing fast. It looked like they were just trying to, again, to be way too pretty with everything that was going on. It was almost like they were trying to show up the lines below them, because the lines below them were having so much success. They're like, oh, they're having success, we need to be better and have fancier success, and they had none of it. But not worried about them for the series.
Yeah, we'll see how they look in this next game. We're having a watch party at PK's house for game 2, and maybe game 2 after they see more tape on what they did against Montreal, because they hadn't even played Montreal since January or February. I remember that was the last time they faced them. And again, I'm not making that as an excuse, but coming from a Boston series where they play a certain style to a Montreal series, it might take them a game or two to adjust. So maybe now that they have film and they got a full 60 behind their backs here against Montreal, maybe that'll change a bit. So we'll see on Friday night. It's a big game. Go up 2-0 and then go to Montreal and try to steal a game. We'll move on here. Ask the BSC. We had 4 questions submitted this week, and it's kind of a hodgepodge of all different questions all over the place, and I love it. So we'll start here with this one. The Loosh Mesh Boys sent this one in to us. Who is your Bandits Mount Rushmore? And for those that don't know, Mount Rushmore has 4 faces, so we're only allowed 4 faces. Phil, can we assume one of your faces is John Tavares?
It's not.
Oh, crap. Did it fall off?
Yes. Yeah. Well,
okay.
They're rebuilding it to be bigger, because it was a little smaller when he was a player, but now as a coach, he's done so much more. So it's got maybe like 2 heads. Like it turned into Fluffy the dog.
Okay. Second one. I'm assuming you also have Mark Stainhouse on yours?
I don't have Stainhouse.
Okay. Wow. Okay. I do have Stainhouse. I got Stainhouse on one of mine with his afro, though, like the hair. That has to be.
I have one wild card in here just to mix it up. I'll just
Okay.
say that. Just because I figured we'd pretty much go chalk, and
I thought
it would
you'd
be
also
boring.
have Stenhouse. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do we both have Dane then?
Yes,
That
we both have
okay?
Dan. Yeah.
Okay.
He is probably going to finish as one of the greatest players to touch a lacrosse stick, so
Yep.
hard not to have him up there.
Okay. So we both have JT. We both have Dane Smith. I'm assuming the third one is a goalie.
It is. It
Is
is.
it Mad Vince?
It is. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That was the one I thought I wouldn't get in there. So you have my 4 now. We both have JT, Mark Stainhouse. I'm sorry, JT, Dane Smith, and Mad Vince. My 4th is Mark Stainhouse. And I put him there because of the records, because of where he stands in the record books, because of his personality on the floor. And I mean, that's the reason I have him there. My biggest question was the Matt Vince. He was my 4th. And the only the only question I had on leaning maybe not putting him on there was he's only been a part of the organization for 5 or 6 years. So he doesn't have that longevity of being on the team. But the impact that he's made to this team and this franchise and all the records he now has for Buffalo, I couldn't leave him off. So those would be my 4s: JT, Mark Stainhouse, Dane Smith, and Matt Vince. So who's your 4th? I'm interested in this one.
I am looking at games played because I was taking that into consideration. Vince is up there at 11th all time for Buffalo Bandits, so you can't say he doesn't have longevity if he's number 11 on the list.
He's got the games, not the years.
That's true. That's true. That's not his fault. But
It's Rochester's.
yeah, being part of arguably the greatest dynasty in Buffalo Bandits history and NLL history.
And they don't do it without him.
They don't do it without him. So my other one is, again, very wild card, very strange, I guess, but I went with Dietrich, Steve Dietrich, because he played for the team 6 seasons, lost 2 finals, but also he's been the GM that helped build the dynasty that they just ran through. So I figured as a player, he was a part of the team for a while and still made a name for himself as a player. But since he's been a GM, he's done arguably even better. And just like you don't do this without Vince, I don't know if you have this dynasty without Steve Dietrich and the way he was able to build the team and the additions he was able to bring in at trade deadlines and everything he's done to build this roster the way it is and construct it the way it is, the trades he's made, everything. I don't know if you have this dynasty, the recent one, without him. And then on top of that, he threw 6 seasons in the net and went to 2 finals. So that was my other one.
I like it. I still go back to his one comments. I can't remember where it was said. He might have been on last class of saying, like, after that second final, I think it was after the second finals, he was starting to doubt if he should be the GM of this team and if he has what it takes to get this team over the top. And then they go on and win the 3 straight. So yeah, you were in the right position. But I do like that choice based on how you described it, of it's not just the playing time, it's the GM work, that, because again, he's also a person
and defense.
They don't win the championships without him in place. And he's also behind the bench as well. My honorable mentions, so if you go to the back of Mount Rushmore, there's actually more faces back there. Don't know if people know that or not. I don't know if that's true. Never been there.
It's just butts.
I think Steve Priolo has to be in the conversation at this point. I mean, you just saw what happened when he wasn't in the playoffs. They're 0-3 when he's not a part of the team in the playoffs. I think one of the Kilgores, Darius or Rich. I forgot how many more games Rich played than Darius, but Darius also was the head coach for that time as well. And then another one is Billy D. Smith, just because of his longevity on the team as well. I think those 3 names, or 4 names, I should say, also should be in contention as well, along with Dietrich. So did you have any honorable mentions for your Mount Rushmore that are behind the main 4 heads?
Not really. Stainhouse for me would have been obviously up there. I think we'll have to see how his career finishes out, but I think Byrne is inching his way up there. There's plenty of other players right around him, I think, but I don't know if he's done enough to separate himself enough to be that high up as a Bandit, but I
I think
think
he
if
needs
he,
a few more great seasons to supplant Mark
yeah,
Steenhouse for me.
yeah.
I think he's going to get there, but at the moment, I don't have him above him right now.
Yep. Yep. I would agree with everything. Yeah, I think one of the Kilgores has to be on there. Like you
Yeah,
said, it's either coaching / playing career of Darius or playing career of Rich. Rich had 200 games played,
yep,
and there it is. Darius had 62.
yep.
So a little bit different, a little bit different. But like you said, Darius had the longevity as a coach as well. So I think we did well. I think we did well.
There you go. Dawson Frick, let us know how we did. Next question. And I came up with this one. I didn't come up with this one. I understand where the people came up with this question after listening to last class. So I appreciate getting asked the question. Would it be bad for the league to have two teams under 500 make the finals? Because that is a possibility right now with Halifax up 1-0. They came into the playoffs under 500 as a record. And San Diego is 1 win away from making the finals as well. They were also under 500. So to you, would that be a bad look for the league? And I know they can't control it. Would it be a bad look for the league overall to have two teams that are under 500 in the regular season make it to the finals?
There's two sides to this. I think it's pretty simple and obvious.
Yes,
One
the answer is
is
yes or no. There's your two sides.
well, the one is outside point of view. You don't know anything about lacrosse or the NLL. Yep. And then there's the inside point of view. You're a fan of the league, fan of the teams, and know a little bit about the league and what you're talking about. I think outside point of view, I would say yes. From a complete, like, someone who doesn't know anything about the NLL and just sees like this is the finals and saw their season records. I'd like, if we saw another league, I don't care what it is, like some random sport, you and I saw the league and it was 2 under 500 teams made the finals. I'd be like, okay, what a joke of a league that is. How the heck did those guys get all the way to the top and beat all the other teams? Like, what is going on there? But if you know the NLL and if you're inside all of it, I love it. From an insider perspective, from a fan perspective, knowing how competitive the league is, knowing what unified standings has done for the league. Like, if you're inside, I absolutely love it because I do think it shows how close the league really is. But if you even go back to the NFL, where we see teams get in and they're under 500 while other teams are I know it's a different thing because the teams that don't make it are over 500, so it's a different conversation. But even still, like, usually when a team under 500 in the NFL makes playoffs, I'm like, how is this team getting in? Like, what a joke. Like, they shouldn't be in. That's stupid. Why are they in? They didn't even win half their games. But from inside the NLL, I love it. Outside, I could see it being, like you've said about the 2 away games for the higher seed. Like, from an outside perspective, I think it's a bad look. From the inside perspective, I love it, and I'm all here for it.
Yeah, I understand the way you frame that, and to an extent that I agree with it. I'm a strictly no. Like, I don't care. My main point, even when the Bandits were sitting 4-6, just get in. Like, if the rules are there in place and you get in, you still have to go. Like, that's the first round. You have to go away from your home barn, go to somebody else's home barn, and if you're under 500, you're probably a 6, 7, 8 seed. 2, 7, and 8 seeds here. They went in and they beat the number 1 seed. They beat the number 2 seed, allegedly. Now they're in a series against higher seeds as well. Like, it's not just them making the playoffs. They have to go on the road. They have to go against teams that had a better record and finish better and set themselves up for a better position. And then they have to go in there, beat them. So it's not just they're getting a free ride to the finals. Yeah, they struggled in the regular season, but they hit their stride at the perfect. Like, how many times have we ever heard you want to be playing your best lacrosse at the end of April and into May? That's what these two teams are doing. I don't care what their finals record or their regular season record is, because at the end of the day, if they hoist that cup, nobody's going to remember, oh, they finished 8-10 and they snuck into the playoffs. Nobody's going to remember that. They're going to remember, oh man, Halifax upset Vancouver and then they beat Georgia and swept them, and then they went to the finals against San Diego or Toronto and beat them. That's all they're going to remember. Nobody's really going to remember their regular season. Like Phil, Bandits' first championship in their third try. What was the regular season record?
14-4.
Do you know that for sure?
No, but it was
See,
one of their.
That's what I mean. Like, you don't really remember what
for a while.
we really don't remember what the regular season record is of prior champions, like Calgary or Colorado. You know, what seed was Colorado? And that was before the unified standings. What was their record? We don't know. Exactly. That's what I mean. Like, just get in and anything happens. So I could give two farts what if they were under 500 or not. If you get in, anything can happen. They say that all the stinking time. Just get in, make the playoffs, and anything can happen. I don't care. It really doesn't bother me whatsoever.
Buffalo was 14-4.
Good call. Good call. Then they went 11-7. And I think it was 13-5.
Yep.
Last year.
Yep. You got all three.
And then this year was 11-7 again.
Yep.
God, I'm good. I remember.
It's like you have a big spreadsheet, a lot of stats.
I don't even have it in front of me.
But I was also going to say the Giants. I was trying to think of what their record was when they won the Super Bowl.
And they upset New England.
Yep, and they were 9-7. Yep. So not under 500, but again, everyone's like, "Oh, they're a bad team. They're only 9-7," and they went all the way to win it. So there you go.
Just hit your stride at the perfect time. Next question. This one gets written in from an avid listener. Phil, this one's an interesting question. If we could become the social media person for any sports team, what team are we joining to improve their influence? And I'm going to jump ahead of you in the order here. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't think we're very good at social media. I don't think I'm very good at social media. I don't actually like social media. I think it's a necessary evil for what we do here. If we didn't do this podcast and I wasn't so into sports, like if we didn't do this podcast, I wouldn't be on Instagram. I wouldn't be on Facebook, Threads, Blue Sky, all that kind of stuff. And the times I'm on it, I'm only on it on our accounts. I would probably still be on X just to follow all the sports because that's where all the news drops.
I'll say we would still follow sports on them, but that's it.
I think it's social media has its positives for the most part, but there's a lot of negatives that come with it. I don't really like it. So I don't think I would be very good for any team. We'll be very honest with, especially with the Bandits, because that's the team we cover the most. I think there's some really good teams out there in the NLL, just speaking on NLL terms. I think there's some really good ones out there. Like Saskatchewan, yeah, they push the line for a lot of the things they do, but their social media presence is really, really good. I thought Toronto this year was really, really solid. I tend to really only notice the teams in the NLL that do a really, really good job with it.
Yep.
Because it stands out.
Yep.
I don't we follow all the other teams' social media accounts, but the good ones stand out. In my opinion, I don't think Buffalo's social media presence is very good. We've called out many times that anytime they lose, they don't post the final graphic score on social media because they don't want to deal with the comments. I don't think that's very cool. I think there's a lot of other aspects that they could be doing, but when you're winning and you're as dominant as you are and you're filling the barn like you do, you don't really have to have that element in your back pocket because the fans are going to be there. Now, with them potentially taking a step back and retooling a bit because of a lot of the players are what we believe are going to be hanging them up, do they increase that social marketing aspect of it and improve that area? Because now, if you're not constantly winning and being to the finals, this is the first time since pre-COVID they haven't been to the finals, do you have to be better in that aspect? I'm fully admitting I'm not good at social media. I'm terrible at it, don't even want to be on it. But I can recognize the people that are good at it, and there are teams that are very, very good at it, and there's teams that could be very, very they could be vastly improved in that area. And that's a hired position or an intern position. There's people that think and are creative that can do that. I just wish that some teams were better at it. So to answer, I guess I didn't really answer it. I wouldn't be able to do it. Like I wouldn't be hired to do it because I'm not creative enough. I think between the two of us, you're the vastly more creative person when it comes to the show, coming up with fun and creative ideas. So I'm going to leave you to answer this one. Me, I would not be hired. I wouldn't even go for an interview because I wouldn't pass the initial pass or test.
Yeah, I think you and I like it would depend on what you're saying as social media person. Um, are we coming up with ideas and telling somebody who actually has the talent to come up with these graphics and
Right.
things to, hey, this is our idea, go make it? Like I feel like we could handle that pretty well.
Yeah.
And I think if we were truly hired and like got paid to do this and had more time and energy to put into like just the social media aspect of things, I think you and I could have a lot of fun and do player
We have
interviews
ideas.
and like mess around on the field. I think we'd be two goofballs for sure. Just kind of causing havoc for a team, but in a fun way. Like I could see us going around to the city and like interviewing random people on the street who don't know anything and like, hey, you know who this team is, you know who this player is, like doing all those social media little videos. I think we'd be really good at that. Um, like how the the NHL when they do their season reveal, their schedule, and they say this is the team we're playing, and they got like
Oh yeah, the
they
NFL
ask the
does that
random
too.
people, and
Yep.
they just
Yep.
come up with a wild name. I think the NLL did it too.
Yeah, there's some teams that did that. It's a
Yeah,
great idea. Yeah.
and stuff like that. I feel like we would
Yeah.
be really good at coming up with, but again, we would need somebody else to film it, somebody else to edit it, and somebody else to post it. But um, to me, I think it would just be a team that needs help, I guess. I think you picked the ones that are really good. Sask is really good. Toronto's really good. And seeing some of the other stuff teams are able to do, even I think it's San Diego has like their own highlights on YouTube of the game that are like 15 minutes long and so much longer than all the other highlights. And I wish Buffalo, with their production and their cameras and the NHL arena, would do more of that on their own, have an expanded highlight package that they would release themselves for all home games. But as far as one specific team, I'm looking at them now. I don't know. I have no idea. I think Calgary actually right now would be a lot of fun because they're an up and coming team. So I think they'd be a good time. I have no idea why because neither of us are huge fans of them. But Ottawa keeps looking at
Ottawa
just.
needs it with
I
their
think
fan
that's why he
base.
keeps
Like if they're going
staring
to
at
hang
me.
around there, they need a bigger social media presence.
Yeah, I keep
especially when you have one of the
looking at
best
them.
players in the entire world in Jeff Teat.
Yeah. So I think Ottawa would be the default of needs help. And then I think Calgary right now would be a lot of fun with everything they have going on. And they're a really big up and coming team. I thought Las Vegas already does a really good job. So
Yeah.
like I think they'd be another fun team, but I think they're absolutely fine on their own. Oshawa with their move, I think they've done a pretty good job since their move. And I think they're going to continue to push it. And plenty of other teams do a decent job. Could be better for sure, but not bad. But yeah, Ottawa keeps staring at me as the team that probably needs it the most. So I guess we'll go Ottawa.
Yeah, I know we harped on Buffalo a bit here, but we kind of cover them and are around them, 365, 24/7. So we
We
see it
follow
more
it
than the
very
other
closely.
teams. Yeah, we see it more than the other teams. So sorry if we picked on you, but be better and we won't pick
You're
on you.
under a microscope.
Yeah, you're under a microscope all the time. Last question here, and this was my favorite of the four. Sorry, because I get to talk about myself a little bit, and I love doing that. Number one vacation spot you have been to, and one that you want to go to. So, Phil, what do you got here?
Number one I've been to, I have two. One I think I liked more than the other, but the other one's fun to say because it's so random. Even to me, thinking back on it, it's still random. But Italy was my favorite one. PK was there for most of
That's
it.
why. That's why.
That is why. And then my second one is Malaysia/Singapore. That was a fun
I got a
one.
magnet.
Yeah, I got PK a magnet. So PK's been there. Yeah, that one was very random. Kind of all just fell together, but it was still an awesome time and such a cool thing to do and be able to say I did because it's so far away. I think it was like
He was not on that flight, guys.
yeah, I think it was like a 13-hour flight and then like an 8-hour flight. That was very, very far away. But a lot of fun. What about you?
I still remember when you were like, I'm going to Malaysia, can you watch my cats? I was like, what the heck are you going to Malaysia for? And then you didn't tell me that your lights in your apartment were
Oh,
on different timers, and I walk in and all the lights are on. I'm like, either the cats are able to turn these on or somebody's in here. And I grabbed like a hockey stick and was going room to room because the time difference was like 12 or 13 hours. So when I'm awake, Phil's sleeping, so he ain't going to be able to help me. So I'm going room to room. I was like, it looks like everything's good. Nobody's in here. Okay. And then like 12 hours later, you're like, oh yeah, they're on a timer. I was like, God, that was so scary.
and
But yeah,
all the cat food was gone for the entire
all the cat
week.
food was gone the first day, and I was panicking on that as well. My best trip as well was Italy. I was asleep the whole time to get there and the whole ride back, so the flight wasn't an issue whatsoever. But I like just going around knowing that, okay, nobody's going to shank you, nobody's going to kill you. Real dirty, a lot dirtier than I thought it was. But I loved every aspect of Italy. My second one is probably Vancouver. Me and the wife did that last September. Very walkable city. We got suggestions by, Brad Challoner and Jake Elliott and Teddy Jenner gave us ideas of where to go there. I would definitely go back to both those places. And then the third, I went to Austin, Texas like 15 or 16 years ago. I want to go back just because, like, I think it's 6th Street. I think it is. They have the whole street locked down. Nobody can drive up and down it, but there's just bars and places to hang out nonstop. So I would like to go back to Austin, Texas. But we're going to Greece in September, so I'm excited to do that. Brooks always wanted to go there. So roundabout it, like Italy as well was my top choice because Phil was there. He was taking pictures of birds nonstop. He's got a whole bird collection, and he's not even a bird watcher.
Birds abroad still got to make
birds
that
abroad.
Instagram.
Yeah, check out the Instagram. That's why we don't have good social media presence, because we've been doing. He came up with this idea like 5 years ago. Okay, my top place to go though, and I think I got two. Number one to me is Alaska. It's a true story. I almost moved there right out of high school because I wasn't good at like school whatsoever. I hated school. Didn't want to go to college, and my parents were like, either you find a full-time job or you got to go to college. And I had a job lined up on a fishing boat, and then I realized, oh man, I get seasick really easy. I guess I got to go suffer through college, and that's why I'm still where I am today.
We almost didn't have this podcast.
And we almost didn't have this podcast. You almost didn't have a PK. He would have thrown himself overboard. Like those crabbing boats, I had that job lined up. But my second one, and I think it's Ireland, and this is a little bit backstory, and people probably don't care, but you asked the question, so you're going to get it. I did 23andMe years ago, and I'm about 30% Italian, 30% English for some reason, 23% German, and I'm 12% Irish. I've been to Italy. I have zero interest in going to Germany and England. I hate that I'm English to begin with. Don't know why. I just don't like it. But Ireland, I really want to go to Ireland. I think our buddy Mike P has been to Ireland. He highly suggested it. I've got a bit of Scottish in me. I got Welsh. I got Russian. I got a dash of Swiss, Dutch, French, Polish, Ukrainian, and Austrian. No one cares, but that's everything that's in me. But yeah, my two options are Alaska to see what I could have been 16 years ago, and then Ireland for sure, because I want to go to the homeland of where part of my family came from.
Yeah. I guess my first one's vastly different from Alaska. I do think Alaska would be
Hawaii?
really cool to go to, though. It's beautiful. But yes, it is Hawaii / my wife always talks about Costa Rica. She went there a long time ago with one of her friends' weddings was there, and she really wants to go back. I've never been to anywhere tropical like that, and I really want to go at some point to a Hawaii or a Costa Rica where it's just, I'm not a huge fan of heat, but I do want to see just the beauty of that kind of land and the water that's crystal clear and not freezing and, whatever.
Fun. Never been to Hawaii, here. But like the Bahamas we've been to, that would like the Caribbean islands, that's fun.
Yes, I've never been.
If you want a shorter flight, man, I would suggest flying down to Florida, going out of Miami, and take a cruise around that area. Less heat, but less travel.
And more pirates, I believe.
A lot more pirates.
Actual, like, was it Nassau? I think that's one of the stops.
Yes, yeah.
And that used to be like a big pirate hub. Anyway, love pirates. Secondary for me would be, we keep calling it the lands, or I call it the lands, not we. But your Ireland, your Scotland, your England, your Netherlands, your all the lands in Europe. Ireland and Scotland are really high on my list. Iceland would be cool, but it's really expensive. So we'll see maybe someday down the line. Switzerland, I also found out was ridiculously expensive, even though it looks insanely beautiful. Would love to go to Switzerland.
Takes a lot of money to remain neutral and everything.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, don't they have the bank? they have all the
Swiss
money. But yeah, my last name is Scottish. I believe I've never done 23andMe, but I believe I have a lot of Scottish in me. My mom's side's German. Do have a lot of German in me as well, but I would like to go to Germany at some point. My wife did remind me it's also called Deutschland, so it is one of the lands as well to go with my big list of lands. But yeah, all the lands around Europe, especially because they're so close. I feel like you could spend a day in each of them and hop around and have a good time. But Edinburgh in Scotland is extremely high on my list and looks pretty much picturesque. And PK and I love the fall. We love the cool, and that place sounds just magical.
Yeah, Australia is also on my list. My brother was there. I just don't think I could do the flight. I know you already did Malaysia, so that would be nothing for you. But I don't think
Japan would be real high. I do want to see
there,
Japan, but also same thing. I feel like if I ever did Japan, I would probably take like 3 weeks off and try to do Japan and Australia for the exact same reason you just said. Like if I'm on that side of the world, I'm doing the big ones. Yeah, New Zealand, Australia, Japan, hit them all real quick, and then never go to that side of the world again.
Yeah, I did 23andMe years ago, and then I hadn't been back on the app in a while, but this question came in. I was like, I wonder like what percentages I am. So I looked it back up, and me and my brother actually differ in, he's obviously my brother. It's the DNA says we're brothers, but like he has almost no English in him, and he has more Irish, I think it is. It balances out to about the same stuff, but yeah. But I looked at my one cousin because it tells you like your ancestors in there too. My cousin is like straight Italian. It was like 97%, and it said exactly where it came from. I was like, yeah, I knew we were right from Italy, but like that's like it's insane.
That's like you were practically born there.
Yeah, my whole dad's side came straight from Italy, and mixed in a little German and all that kind of stuff. But nobody really cares. NLL now, Phil. Before we dive into the finishing up round 2, the finalists for the awards came out. So obviously we didn't get a vote this year. Don't care if we ever get a vote. I don't really care whatsoever. I think it's more fun to vote on here because I know there's quite a few voters that have to remain silent on what their things their voting was. Yep. We don't have to because we don't get votes. So Phil, we're going to go through all the finalists here and we're going to pick our own. And that means more than the actual award because we're the BSC. Phil, MVP. Finalists this year are Keegan Ball, Brett Dobson, and Dane Smith. Who is your MVP out of the finalists that they are nominated, or not even nominated, the top 3 vote getters from the voters?
Yeah, it was it's Dobson for sure.
Agreed.
He just annihilated records that have stood forever, especially with the even longer season that they have now. It's even more impressive to do what he did. And the way he got his records weren't even close to anybody else. So we talked a lot about this year, especially with Matt Vince, and that in a weird way, I think Vince and Smith are arguably more important to the Bandits this season than they ever have been before. So even if their numbers aren't quite as sparkling as they have been in the past, you could argue that they were truer MVPs this year because without Smith scoring some of those late game goals, you don't even make the playoffs. And without Vince standing on his head, you don't make the playoffs. So in a weird way, again, their stats weren't there, but you could argue that they meant more to the team this season than they have in the past. But that's the exact reason Dobson deserves what the recognition he's getting. I think that's why he deserves this award, because without him, I don't think, we talked about how bad Georgia's offense was for so long throughout the season that without him, they aren't where they are. Yeah.
Think about it like this. If Georgia's offense have averaged like 8 goals, they would probably be in the playoffs just because of what Brett Dobson was doing in net. But yeah, he's definitely the MVP. I would be shocked if he's not the MVP. Offensive Player of the Year, Keegan Ball, Andrew Q, and Dane Smith. Who is your winner here?
I I know Q's not going to get it. I want Q to get it.
Imagine if he played 18.
That's what I'm saying. Like
honestly, Dane Smith's record could be in jeopardy.
Yes, and that's the thing. And I understand that's why he's not going to likely. I mean, the fact that he's a finalist, I think, is good on the league, recognizing what he did. And his sample size isn't 6 games, it's 12. It's still a good chunk, but I understand it's harder to do that like Ball did throughout the entire season or Smith did throughout the entire season. So I don't think he's going to win it. I'd like him to, just based on the small sample size he has of what he was able to do was absolutely ridiculous. But to me, I think it deserves to go to Keegan Ball if it's not Q.
Yeah, I think had I'm not diminishing their impact, but had Jesse King or Curtis Dixon had better point producing seasons, I do think that Andrew Q or Dane Smith would have a higher likelihood to compete for this award. But because of how much further ahead Keegan Ball was for the rest of the team, I give it to Keegan Ball, and that would be the first award winner from a team that's not the Buffalo Bandits. Defensive Player of the Year, Ryan Dilks, Callum Jones, and Brad Cree. I think all three are deserving of this award. I went Brad Cree, though, just because of the change up on that back end. You lose a Mitch DeSnoo last year. You trade it out, considering what their defense and goaltending looked like last year to what it does this year. I think Callum Jones was the leader in the clubhouse until his team fell apart. And I'm not putting that all on Callum Jones, but when your team fails to make the playoffs, I have to take that into consideration. I think Ryan Dilks is one of the best defenders in the league, but when you're looking at the rest of his team, he has a bunch of future Hall of Famers on the back end as well. Brad Cree really doesn't have a ton of extra help back there. He's got a ton of young guys, a ton of veterans that are really, really good, but I don't think he has another. I know I might be blanking on another name back there, and I'm not trying to, and maybe I'll get hammered in the comments here. I don't think he has another Hall of Famer on the back end. So I'm going Brad Cree. That's, to me, is the Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I'm sorry, trying to pull up Toronto real quick here.
Tell me out if they do have another Hall of Famer.
Creekish, Jumonville, Latrell Harris.
Latrell Harris is probably the next best one, but I don't think he's a Hall of Famer.
Ostrauser, I don't think so. No, not really.
Okay. Oh, dodgeball there.
Yeah, and now that's both of us pissing somebody. Yeah, I personally would go Callum Jones. I think it's extremely close between Cree and Jones. To me, I like what Jones was able to do in the loose ball game. He had 50 more than Cree, and I think other than that, they were similar-ish. Like you said, Ottawa fell apart, but I think, again, without Jones, they fall apart even quicker and even more than they did. Cree means a ton, like you just mentioned, to Toronto and what he's able to do for that team. I do think him and Jones are very close, but I think I'd have Jones just a little bit higher, but I could easily see Cree getting it as well.
Goalie of the Year, I think this is going to be... I don't know how Brett Dobson doesn't get this unless somehow the voters were like, we can't have the same Christian Del Bianco type of thing getting Goalie of the Year and MVP. But I don't know how you don't give him Goalie of the Year. Like, is it strange to me that I think he has a more likely chance to win MVP and not Goalie of the Year? Like, I
don't know how you don't win it.
I don't know either. Like that's what makes no sense. But that would be the only way he doesn't. Is we'll give him the MVP, but he doesn't win goalie either. But that would be nonsense and stupidity. So I think he's the clear front. It's not diminishing what Chris Del Bianco and Dylan Ward both did, because they're both finalists as well. They had great seasons. But when you have a record-setting season, I don't know how you don't get goalie of the year and MVP.
Yeah, no, he deserves it for sure. Yeah, there's nothing else to be said about it. Again, he had record-setting season. Like, he deserves both. And again, those records were shattered, not just like, oh, he won by 0.01. Like, the season he had was 1 of 1. So yeah, I think he just deserves it.
And it came out of nowhere because he was having worse and worse seasons the first 3 years of his career. It's insane. And I know you loved him. going out of college. You wanted him to be drafted, but just like his career arc was going in the wrong direction, and then just bam, everything clicked. Rookie of the year. This to me was the hardest category because no matter how you place the finalist, there was going to be players that deserve to be in there missing. And this is vastly different than what we even said last year when it was, Will Johansson, it was Brendan O'Neill, it was Dyson Williams ended up winning it. I think this is the best collection of rookies that this league has seen in quite a long time. And when you get Nolan Byrne, Michael Grace, and CJ Kirst in there, I personally think it's CJ Kirst that's going to walk away with this. But if Michael Grace or Nolan Byrne win it, I wouldn't also be angry. Like, I think Kirst, what he did, not just, with his rookie year living up to number one draft pick this last season, but the caused turnovers and the loose balls and everything that he does off the ball.
Yeah.
I think he is deserving of this. That's not a shot at Michael Grace or Nolan Byrne or Sam English or Owen Hiltz or any of the other rookies that came through this league. I just think with the expectations that were on CJ Kirst and getting his team to where they were from where they were, I think, and there were times where he was leading that team to victories. I think it's CJ Kirst that's going to walk away with this one.
Yeah, I'm giving it to Kirst as well. I think, like you just said, the well-rounded aspects of his game, and just he came out. I don't remember what Dyson and
Brennan
finished with last year as points wise, but I think he beat both of them.
I think he did too.
And they were both coming out as kind of phenoms. I know he was as well. I'm not saying he wasn't like touted like this as well, but we know how hard it is to live up to that. Like you were just saying, that it's, yes, you can come in with all this hype and everything, but it's hard to live up to that, especially in your rookie season. And he was able to do that and excel, I think, even more. Like you said, those caused turnovers, the loose balls, everything he's able to do. You and I really like what Nolan Byrne did in his rookie year. It was really, really incredible. And what he brought to Georgia was huge. And then Grace, same thing. He's going to have an amazing career when he is back from injury. Hopefully he just heals quickly, heals well. But his start to this year and just how he came out on fire as a rookie and led that team on defense was also really impressive. Like, the rookie class this year is probably going to go down as one of the better ones in recent NLL history.
Dyson had 65 points last year. Brennan had 58.
Yeah, and he finished with 71. So, again, it's not that they're bad players and he's a better player. It's something like that. It's just, again, the hype coming out as that first overall pick, it's hard to live up to, and he did that and more.
Next one, this one has been very controversial this year and prior years because what is actually a transition player? The nominees are Zach Currier, Sam English, and Jordan McIntosh. I think it's probably going to go to Zach Currier, but to me, I don't think that he should be eligible for Transition Player of the Year. He played even more forward this year than he did last year. I think, to me, he should have been up for MVP, to me. No shout at Dane Smith, but I probably would have bumped Dane Smith out of there and put Zach Currier. Sorry. So that's why I can't give it to Zach Currier, because I don't like it. Would be similar if I were to give it to Ian McKay last year. Yeah. He was a forward. Like, Zach Currier is mostly a forward. He comes out the back door as well, but it's not like split even. I need a guy to be more split even if I'm going to call them a transition player. So I'm actually going to give it to Jordan McIntosh. Like, the help that he gave to the right side, the work that he put in the back end, he put the game winner versus Halifax that kind of sealed the deal for them to get in the playoffs and lead them to a top seed and a home field advantage. I think I would give it to Jordan McIntosh. And I didn't. I actually changed my answer going into this show. Like, I have Zach Currier highlighted and I changed it because of my thought process. So I would give it to Jordan McIntosh.
Yeah, I think McIntosh deserves some love finally. I think George has been not dragging him down, but I feel like he hasn't gotten the respect he deserves because he's been on a team that's been struggling a little bit, and to see them finally kind of have a pretty decent season and him to thrive once again at 36 years old in that season and lead a team that has some younger players that need to be brought along, and just how well he was able to mold everything and still have a very successful season. I like everything that he brings, and to me, I would also give it to him. English is a rookie, and I know that shouldn't be a strike against him, but I'm pretty much guaranteed that he's going to win it someday if he just keeps this trajectory up, because he also had a monster rookie season. I saw the quote, I forgot who it was from, but to have English as a transition player of the year, but not a rookie of the year the same season is wild. But that's just kind of where the rookies are this season.
Sportsmanship and teammate of the year, we're not really going to pick because that's not really our place. Sportsmanship finalists are Kyle Buchanan, Ryan Keenan, and Jeff Teat. We're a little biased to Kyle Buchanan, but again, we're not on the field. We're not in the locker room. It's hard to pick that one. Team of the year, same reasons, same thing. Cam Dunkerley, Robert Hope, Luke Magnan. Coach of the year, though, we can pick this one. Ed Camo, Pat Coyle, Kurt Malowski. I'm shocked that Kurt Malowski's on this list because he came in with the top team. They finished as the top team. I don't know why he's the finalist. I wouldn't have put him as a finalist. But
again, it's just, I don't know, I already talked to you about this, but it just goes back to Johnny never being nominated for this stuff. And Johnny's always overlooked because he has the Bandits and they're a very talented team. So, even though he's a great coach, he's just overlooked because most times this award goes to a bottom team that rose up that you didn't expect.
Yeah.
And yet Kurt Malowski's here with the top team finishing as the top team. Like, okay, well then why was Johnny punished all those seasons for being a great head coach and not being nominated?
Yeah. Ed Camo is going to win this one. It's not a shot at Pat Coyle, but I think nobody had Georgia doing what they were doing. They're well ahead of schedule. Ed Camo is going to win this one. GM of the year, Jamie Dowick, Kurt Malowski, and Brad Self. I think Jamie Dowick has an argument for this, but a lot of the work that was done was in last year's season when he got those picks.
Yep.
He still made those picks, but I think I would give it to Brad Self because of the trades to bring in Andrew Q and ship out Connor Kelly that did not play. They bring in a Jack Hanna that comes in at the perfect time when Ryan Lee gets hurt. The Dylan McIntosh ad as well. That's an underrated one. The change up on offense with vastly completely new offense. The back end that has been rebuilt through the draft. I think Brad Self needs some recognition here. Kurt Malowski, he kind of, he brought in all those big names, but you're also in Vancouver, so that also helps you because a lot of those players wanted to come and play at home. Jamie Dowick, again, I already explained that one, so I think I would give it to Brad Self here.
Yeah, I agree. We are a very boring podcast, apparently. But yeah, the trades he was able to make, Q alone is probably the steal of all steals after the season.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Exactly. After the season he had, and then I know the Hanna situation is kind of goes in his favor because he said he would only play for Colorado, wants to go there, but you still have to get the deal done and make it happen. And like you said, imagine that team if Lee didn't go down, but even with Lee going down, they were able to patch it together and still be one of the best teams in the league. So I would like what he was able to do during the season.
Executive of the year, same thing. I think it should go to Dan Carey because of everything that happened in the offseason with Rochester. Yeah, they floundered, but all the behind-the-scenes work that he was able to do with the league to keep Rochester in Rochester, I would just give him the award there. And then Media of the Year, Media Person of the Year, Tom Borelli Award. I don't want to pick because I think they're all well-deserving, but two of them have been on the show, so my allegiances lie with either Ashley Docking or Mackie Jenner. This is Mackie's second year on this one. I think this is Ashley's first time on as a finalist. Either way, I would support either one of those, and that's not a shot at Grand Pro because NLL Stats is phenomenal. We just haven't had him on the show yet, so my biases lead to Mackie Jenner or Ashley Docking, but literally anybody that was even nominated for this award is well deserving of it. So, whoever wins this, everybody else should not think badly that, oh, darn, we didn't win it, because you add something to the league. Everybody that talks about the league, broadcast for the league, anything that helps promote this league and grow it, you're deserving of this. It's just those are the 3 finalists.
Yeah, Graham makes our lives a lot easier for this show.
Makes
Having NLL
everybody's life
stats, it is monstrous for what we're able to do because the NLL website, while the stats have gotten better, is still
And by better, he means there. They don't disappear.
It exists. Still a bit of a nightmare to use. And but I believe you called Mackey winning it last year, because you had...
I did say the following year she can win it because last year was Gertler's time.
Yes. So, we'll see.
I could be 2 for 2.
Yeah. You called Gertler, and then, last year you said it was Gertler's time, but Mackey can win it next year.
Maybe if you want to win the Tom Borelli Media Person of the Year, my Venmo will be sent to your DMs, and I will just talk you up. That's how you win it, as long as Mackey wins it this year. But yeah, that's our picks, because we're better than you and we know it. Real quick, because we're already an hour 6. I told you we weren't going to get to the Bills. We got 3 possible games, 2 for sure this weekend. They start Saturday at 6 p.m. Game 2, Georgia versus Halifax. Halifax leads the series 1-0. Phil, I'm going to ask you real quick. You got 30 seconds to answer this. Does Halifax win? Or Halifax wins because Georgia wins because? Pick one or the
other. Georgia wins because they woke up and their offense came back to life. I don't know what that game was, but Dobson still played really well. I think he needs to stand on his head somehow even more than he did. But to me, Georgia wins because their offense was the offense that we saw against Buffalo and not the offense that was kind of lifeless against Halifax in game 1.
Yeah, I agree. I think Georgia wins this one for 2 reasons. I think the offense rebounds to what we had saw the prior 6 games. Like, it wasn't just a one-off versus Buffalo and Rochester. It was games before that. And I think Dobson plays better. Like, I don't think Dobson's going to go out like he saw in game 1, giving up 11 goals. So I do think Georgia gets it to game 3. Second game of the night, Saturday, 7 p.m. It's game 3. Series is tied 1-1. San Diego in Toronto. Toronto wins because San Diego wins because.
We'll go Toronto wins because Nick Rose turns it on and plays like playoff Nick Rose. I think he's been okay so far in the playoffs, but I don't think he's been elite. I don't think he's been the Nick Rose we've seen in the past that has held Buffalo to under 10 goals in prior years. So to me, I think Nick Rose turns it on, and then their offense, I think the veterans just have to keep plugging away, and the rookies need to pitch in where they can. But I think Toronto winning comes down to what Nick Rose is able to do in that.
I'm actually opposite. I think San Diego is going to win this one because I think Toronto needed to win game 2.
We were just
and I
for fun.
think it was Eric Law that said it on Last Class, and I completely agree with him. Toronto looked so defeated after that second game, like they wanted that week off. I think that does something to your psyche. That I think this is just all the pressures on Toronto. Big Bad Bandits aren't in the playoffs. You got the home game to get to the finals for the first time in years. The pressure's on Nick Rose and a Mark Matthews to get the job done in Toronto and get them to the finals. I just think that their best shot was versus San Diego when they didn't have O'Rig. I don't really care who's in net, O'Rig or Dunkerley. I think San Diego gets this one done, and I think San Diego's in the finals. So we both had Georgia winning game 2. That means we're going to game 3, 6 o'clock on Sunday in Halifax. Phil, Halifax wins and goes to the finals because, or Georgia wins and goes to the finals because?
So first off, I thought we were playing this game like we were just giving both sides. I didn't know I was actually picking who was going to win the game.
That's what I thought. It's you.
No, I thought you were just saying, like, I get to pick one side or the other, but not who I actually thought was going to win, just simply if they won, this is why they would win and fight for that case.
Are you switching your picks then?
Yeah, I think San Diego's going to win against Toronto. I do have them in the final.
My bad. I should have been more clear. That's my
bad. No, it's miscommunication.
We weren't on the same wavelength there for some reason.
Which is rare. Yeah. This final game, I think Halifax, to me, is going to pull it off. I don't think you can take 2 in the nest from them. Back-to-back games, I think Halifax has been a very strong team. I think they've been a surprising team, and every time that I think the game should go one way. They seem to go the exact opposite direction. So we'll see what actually happens. But to me, I do think Halifax can pull it off and win, because I just think they're the better crunch time team right now than Georgia. They've been playing, we've talked about it a lot, they've been playing playoff lacrosse for a long time. And in those really tough games and those tight moments when it comes down to one goal here or there, I think they have the better ability to close it out, especially in Halifax, than Georgia will be able to.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Halifax. I want it for the drama because of the game 3 not being able to play anywhere but Halifax. I think
you're just stirring the pot.
I think the 7-8 matchup would be a fun finals as well, to talk about that, to see what the league does, and if like the top teams from this year have a baby fit and complain about the one and done type of thing. I think just for being a content creator, I think that would be the best finals of, especially because 3 of the 4 final teams, Micah Kersey, Pat Merrill, Matt Sawyer, all 3 of them I said should not be head coaches this year. All 3 of them are now in the finals. And guess what? All 3 of them were topics of conversation in the offseason of Halifax, Toronto, and San Diego. All were doing the same thing of just stuck in the mud. They need to change something up. Guess what? I'm an idiot once again, boys. Yeah, I think it would just be so much fun to see Halifax, San Diego, the purple matchup, like you mentioned, the 7-8 seed, 2 teams that made it in by being under 500. I think just the drama that would have, I think that would be what I would pick. So San Diego and Halifax is my finals as well.
Yep.
But that wraps up this one, Phil. We still don't have time for the Bills, and I had a little bit more to that. Maybe one day. Maybe one day. Get better. I don't care. Phil, anything else with this episode before we shut it down? And we'll have to have conversations. We'll let everybody know on social media if our episode's going to be out on Monday or Tuesday, because if NLL goes to game 3, I don't know if we want to push it, because the Sabres also play as well. So we'll have to have conversations. We'll let everybody know when our next episode is going to be out. It's either going to be Monday or Tuesday, but we'll have those conversations. But Phil, anything else before we shut it down?
No, go Sabres.
Go Sabres. We'll see you in like less than 24 hours over here. PK party. Woo-hoo.
PK party in the house.
PK party in the house. Thank you all for listening to another episode of the Buffalo Sports Collective. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Threads, and TikTok at Buffalo Sports Collective, and on X and Blue Sky at Buffalo Sports Go. Visit our website at buffalosportscollective.com. Follow our channel wherever you listen to podcasts, and make sure you leave us a review on Apple and Spotify. Regardless if the Bandits are in the finals or not, you should watch NLL this weekend. Drive up the viewership. Until next time, bye-bye.